So I've had a few adult improvers reach out inquiring what I think would be the most effective and efficient program for improvement. And so for me, it's an absolute no brainer. Um, and it's not something I don't think that many adult improvers are necessarily even aware of or have looked at in detail because it kind of gets swamped out by all of the ads and commercialized products and promoted courses and gurus trying to sell their secret sauce. um, but what I think is the most efficient way for an adult improver, somebody who's under 1800, say, to to get better as a chess player, is something called chess steps. And so what I want to do in this video is just kind of real briefly explain what chess steps is without getting into a lot of the details and why I think it works and how it has worked for me. And then I'll do another video where if people are interested in learning more about this, I'll kind of I'll kind of dive in a little bit into detail of how the process actually works, because it can be a little confusing on the surface if you haven't dug into it a bit. So basically, what chess steps is it was started by two international masters in the Netherlands, and it was endorsed by the Dutch Chess Federation. And the purpose of it was to come up with lessons and workbooks and basically do an entire curriculum for teaching chess, all the way from absolute beginner up until a very high level. And we'll pull that up in a little bit and I'll show you. But it was originally created to be used in classrooms, and they would have a curriculum that instructors would use where they would have lesson plans made out in advance that could be used by the teacher to teach the students. And then they would have workbooks for the students to solve problems based on those lessons. And the idea is it's like these step-by-step building blocks to build up your knowledge and create this foundation. And it started out, it was just books. It's never been turned into like an online product. There are some supplementary computer software products, which I'll show in the next video if people are interested. But let's just I'm just going to go into the website here a little bit and just kind of show you what it is. And then I also want to just kind of show you like the results that it has gotten. But basically, if you go to their website, and I'll put a link down in the show description to this website, but it says Chess Steps is a step-by-step method for teaching and learning chess. And basically how it works is you have these workbooks, and you can start at somebody who's never played before. You can go down, they show the different levels, and basically it starts out at people with the rating under 800 would be step 1. Rating up to 1400 is step 2. If you make it through step 3, that takes you up to 1600, enough knowledge to be 1600. And the idea is as you are going through the steps program, you are playing games, and then playing your own games, and the instructors actually will look at your games and see if you're applying these concepts. So, but for an adult improver, you can use these lessons and learn it on your own. If you had a coach that was like a step method coach, that would probably be ideal. But I think in my experience, I gained a lot. And that's when I actually first started seeing major improvement in my game. I actually started on step 1, and I'm almost done with step 3. And then I'm going to go on to step 4. But I found for me, I think I've gotten more out of it than what they've claimed as far as like what level it takes you up to. And the next video, I'll just kind of give suggestions on how I would tackle it, if I was starting it today, and different recommendations for different adults and how to approach it. But the thing is it was started in the mid 80s, and it was refined over 3 decades by these these two international masters that would refine it and update it and try to optimize this curriculum. And so I think it'd be very hard for me to believe that a lot of these products that are pushed at people that like an adult improver would come up with some kind of curriculum on their own that would be like more effective or comprehensive. There may be things you can do if you want to get quick bursts, to your rating, but not long term necessarily growth or sustainable growth. Like you can just pound tactics or something like that, learn some opening tricks or whatever. But like this actually provides like a foundation where they build it up step by step. And ironically, well, I guess not ironically, but interestingly, the step one is like really, really basic stuff. And I actually found that, um, instead of like jumping in and starting on step three or something like that, I actually gained like almost 150 rating points in Blitz after completing step one. I did it quite quickly, but I actually had some holes in my game from step one, which I wouldn't have necessarily known, but because I picked it up, chess. I didn't learn the basics when I was young. I played in high school, but I didn't like study, and we were just it was an informal thing. But it kind of filled in some things, different ways of thinking about it that I hadn't even thought about before, and I actually gained like 100 and some rating points from step one in Blitz. But I will go into the next video. I'll go into like what all these different workbooks are and stuff like that. But I just wanted to pop over and look at this. To me, this is fascinating. Is that okay? The Netherlands has a population of 17 million, so it's roughly 1/20th the size of the United States. So, and like maybe half the size of Canada. But look at, if you go to the ranking of the players in the Netherlands, look at all these GMs and IMs that have been produced in the Netherlands. I mean, it's insane. If you go down, let's just cut off at 2,400. There is 56 players rated above 2,400. And I would think the majority of these actually came through the step methods when they were kids and built out this foundation. And there's only, if you look at the Netherlands, there's only a couple of these people that emigrated to the Netherlands. Like I see like Sokolov on here and Tivyakov, but you don't see a whole lot. So now, if let's switch it over to the United States, and let's compare. So the Netherlands had 56 people above 2,400 with a population of 17 million people. Now the U.S. is like, I don't know, 330 or 350 million or something. So it's like 20 times the size approximately. And then if we look at the list, if we go down to 2,400, there's basically 100 people that are rated 2,400 or higher. Okay, so it's not even twice as many people in a country with 15 times the population. And more importantly, if we look at this, if you start going through these names, well, Fabi, he didn't learn chess here. He moved here. Wesley didn't become a grandmaster when he lived here. I think Dominguez, I think he's from Cuba. Aronian's from Armenia. You start going down this list, and all of our top players, a lot of them, not all of them, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of them are players that immigrated to the United States. So I think it's safe to say, like, if you compared the Netherlands to the United States, it's probably maybe at least 10 times more effective, maybe 15 times more effective as far as like how many top players they produce per capita. And I think a lot of that has to do with them learning these chess steps and getting good fundamentals at a young age. And of course, more access to like good training material like this. Now, I'm sure other things come into play. Like they live in a country where the government cares about the people. They actually have time off. They have FMLA. They're not slaves to like healthcare. There's a lot of other factors, and this is the point. Isn't to have a political show or anything. So some of that does play into it. But I think like it's certainly at least 10 times more effective. So let's like pull up like let's just pull up like Canada or something. I think they're like 30 million people, and let's count the number that they have. So they should theoretically have twice as many players above 2,400 as the Netherlands. But if we pull them up, let's see. Oh wow, let's zoom back up here. There's only 15 players above 2,400. They got twice the population, so they should have, roughly 112 to kind of be equivalent to the Netherlands. They got 15, right? So like a tenth per capita, basically. So I really liked it. That's when I felt like I really started improving, was when I did these step methods, and it's not like an instantaneous like boost. It's like slowly building, and then I kind of look back, and some of the mistakes I used to make are now kind of just like I can't believe I made them in a way. But so I'm sold on this step system. And I think one of the reasons it's like it's not heavily commercialized, obviously, right? It was originally, used in the Netherlands. It's kind of spread out, and there are some coaches that use it. And it's not like a real big profit motive. They don't have all these on. They've intentionally the one I am that one of the founders. I think he died some years back, but the other one has been resistant to putting these out there in electronic format, and I think that might be part of it too. Is you sit down with the book, you're there with yourself, forces you to concentrate on it without all kinds of other distractions. Using it on the computer and suggestions for other courses and commercialized products as you're doing this. So I think as like the foundation, the backbone, I think you'd be very hard pressed to find a more effective way, and at least a guaranteed way of building up this foundation. And approximately, it's heavily focused on tactics up through the first three steps, and then it shifts over to also including a bunch of strategical concepts. So I'm looking forward to getting on to step 4. But I will talk about that in the next video on how I approached it and how I would suggest others maybe approach it. And to put links to the Chess Steps website itself down here. And then above me, you can click on it if you are interested and you want to see more of it. I'll maybe like hold up some of my books, like these workbooks, and we'll go on their website and kind of look at it, and I'll kind of show what's in these things. And try to make sense of there's all these different types of workbooks, and it can be a little confusing if you haven't done it before. But I would strongly consider it. I mean, I do honestly think there's some people that aren't necessarily so interested in improving, is just looking. They kind of like the process of looking for all this new like training material and just want to jump around, and that's kind of like their entertainment or whatever, and that's fine too. But I think if your goal actually is to become a stronger chess player, you want to have, something where you have a plan. And that's what I like about it. You're not looking for the next wonder class, or video or whatever. You have what you're supposed to work on, and you just work through it, from start to finish. And you can use your results on these workbooks and tests and stuff to see if you're ready to go on to the next step. But you have a plan, and I think that's one of the biggest impediments to improvement for adults, is we're just kind of swamped with all this information overload, different options. What should I do? Oh man, this seems to be great. Let's do this, and then you end up, and 3 years later, you're no better than when you started. So if you're interested, I will do another video. I won't have it pinged to subscribers. It'll just be on a playlist just following this. So I hope you consider it. I do think that is the way to go. I'm sure there's other plans as well, but stumbling like this is like known to be successful, not overly commercialized. You're not, having some snake oil salesman try to sell you some magic course. And so you can feel pretty confident that at least structurally it's a good course and it has produced results. So anyway, hope you consider it. Take care.